Aristotle, The Art of Rhetoric. In Aristotle's The Art of Rhetoric, the influential philosopher delves into the essential techniques for effective communication and persuasion. Notably, he identifies three key methods of persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Through vivid examples from Athenian society and logical explanations, Aristotle demonstrates the importance of truth, virtue, and deep understanding in the art of rhetoric. Leverage this summary to grasp Aristotle's philosophy and its practical implications, with concrete tips on how to create persuasive, impactful speeches that resonate with your audience.
The Art of Rhetoric. In ancient Athens, where public speaking was considered a crucial part of democracy, Aristotle wrote The Art of Rhetoric. He believed that every speech required a unique rhetorical style, but all forms of rhetoric have the same objective: persuading the audience. According to him, there are three basic methods of persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos establishes the speaker's authority, pathos arouses emotions, while logos uses logic and reasoning to express a point of view. Aristotle emphasized the importance of truth and virtue in persuasion, unlike his predecessors who focused on manipulating people through words. In conclusion, rhetoric is not just manipulation but exploiting the facts of a situation to your advantage. Mastering ethos. Learn how to adjust your character and tailor your message to appear trustworthy and experienced, using the first method of persuasion, ethos. Imagine being in a position of leadership, leading an army to battle. Who would you be more likely to listen to, a seasoned veteran, or someone with no experience in warfare? Ethos, the first method of persuasion, speaks to the importance of credibility and trust when it comes to influencing others. In other words, to be a persuasive speaker, you need to make your audience perceive you as experienced and trustworthy. To do this, focus on expressing three key qualities: intelligence, strong personal character, and goodwill. Research your topic thoroughly before giving your speech to help demonstrate that you know your stuff. When expressing emotion, be genuine and avoid overdoing it. Adapting your message to your audience is essential when it comes to ethos. Different audiences respond better to different styles of communication. Younger crowds tend to respond well to passionate and polemical language, while older crowds appreciate cautious, balanced viewpoints. In short, mastering ethos means tailoring your message and adjusting your character to appear trustworthy and experienced. By focusing on research, emotional expression, and audience adaptation, you can become a persuasive speaker capable of leading your audience towards your desired outcome. The art of persuasion through emotion. The power of persuasion lies in evoking emotions. This is the message conveyed regarding the method of persuasion called pathos. The ancient Greeks used pathos to influence the public as they understood that emotions shape judgments. The author highlights that pathos can be skillfully wielded in a court of law to sway a jury's decision. The defendant's fate can be determined by how their emotions are stirred. Aristotle's concern about how frequently this persuasive method is used is noted. This is linked to the fact that audiences are not entirely rational beings. However, emotions are not random. They have predictable triggers, and understanding these triggers can allow speakers to evoke the desired emotional response. Using anger as an example, Aristotle defines it as a mix of feeling slighted and the expectation of revenge. Thus, prosecutors can use this knowledge to incite anger in a jury by showing that the defendant's behavior was insulting or without the proper degree of remorse. Fear, on the other hand, is caused by awareness of impending danger. Pity arises when someone is perceived to be suffering undeservedly. By understanding these causes and making them known to an audience, one can inspire the relevant emotions. Therefore, pathos can effectively arouse emotions that impact judgment. Knowing the causes of emotions is key to leveraging this method of persuasion. The power of logos. In the art of rhetoric, Aristotle's preferred method of persuasion is logos, which involves presenting clear facts and using sound reasoning to inspire a particular course of action. The key to creating a successful argument is making it logically irrefutable, which can be achieved through the use of enthymemes. An enthymeme starts with accepted premises and then proceeds to a logical conclusion, making it more effective than other deductive arguments that are not definite, especially in situations with a high probability of occurrence. Logos can be strengthened by pointing to historical precedent, and an understanding of logic is fundamental to this form of persuasion. Mastering the art of speech. Public speaking is an art that involves not only the content but also the delivery style. Aristotle believes that good style is essential to clarity and that it conveys a kind of persuasiveness that is understood by the audience. A good style should be clear, concise, and avoid using ambiguous language. Including poetic flourishes in your speech can be effective, but be careful not to confuse or misinform your audience. Aristotelian metaphorical devices can help your audience visualize points of your speech. Delivery is another crucial aspect of an excellent speech. It is not just what you say that matters, but also how you say it. A sound delivery always entails clarity, appropriate pauses between your sentences, and speaking naturally. Monotone and artificial speech patterns often produce dull speeches. At the same time, excessively poetic speeches may not be taken seriously. By identifying and mastering the critical concepts of style and delivery, you stand a greater chance of delivering speeches with flair and excellence. 4 parts of a great speech. A speech should have an introduction, narrative, argument, and conclusion with an aim to bind your audience towards your perspective. According to Aristotle, 2 critical things that define a good speech are stating your case and proving it. However, for longer speeches, a well-crafted introduction and conclusion can help your listeners orient themselves. So, a speech should have a logical 4-part structure: introduction, statement, proof, and conclusion. The introduction sets the tone of your speech, builds interest, and explains why the topic is significant. Your ethos comes into play here as you showcase your character to encourage the crowd to empathize with you. In this section, Sophocles, the Greek dramatist, playing up his old age and frailty to persuade the crowd, appealed to pathos. Next, it's time to narrate your interpretation of events, being selective with the details that matter. Since narratives depend mostly on emotions, this is where you can best use pathos to your advantage. After the narrative, it's time to present your arguments where logos becomes essential. The aim of this section is to prove the claims you made and, if necessary, refute arguments made by your opponent. It might be useful to provide a brief conclusion, especially after a long speech. It highlights the main thrust of your argument and emphasizes why it's superior to your opponent's claim. This is your final chance to win over your audience, so make sure to end with an emotional bang that leaves them feeling positive towards you. The conclusion of your speech should be concise and punchy. Use the technique of a syndeton to omit conjunctions in sentences as it sounds more impactful. For instance, Aristotle concluded his speech on rhetoric by saying, "I've made my case, you've heard the facts, now judge." Remember, the purpose of your speech is to ensure that your audience is persuaded towards your perspective.
Aristotle's The Art of Rhetoric examines myriad facets and applications of persuasion, making it an invaluable resource for mastering the art of communication. In the book, there are 3 core methods of persuasion: ethos, character, pathos, emotion, and logos, reason, with a special focus on truth and virtue. By understanding and implementing these strategies, upcoming orators can significantly strengthen their speech delivery and connect more profoundly with their audience. Ultimately, Aristotle offers a framework for structuring and performing persuasive speeches, empowering readers to harness the power of rhetoric in various realms of life.